I think it's safe to say that this is the best week in hip hop that we've had in a very long time. I'll go as far to even say that this is the best rap battle that's ever existed in the history of hip hop. I know a lot of the old heads, a lot of the purists are going to disagree with this. Don't mention Tupac and Biggie. Don't mention Ice Cube. Don't mention LL Cool J. None of these guys, no more. When it comes to rap battles, I respect them. But as far as battles go, we've never seen this before, and we may never see it again in our lifetime. We've never seen somebody to the caliber of a Drake and a Kendrick go at it at their apex like they're doing right now. And not only are they at their apex, they've given us seven, eight, I've lost count, but at least eight different high quality diss tracks. They're not just jabbing at each other. These are direct blows to each other, right? I don't know if we'll ever see that again. I can't think of another time that, a rap beef is going back and forth with this level of rapping. And if it is, it's probably somebody not on their level as far as notoriety. Yeah, so as you know, it started off, I don't want to say lighthearted, but they were just jabbing at each other. So Kendrick, of course, addresses the first person shooter track with like that. It's a hit. Drake has to respond with push ups, another fire track, but this is still kind of like jabbing. They're not really digging into each other. They're not going too crazy. They're just kind of checking each other's temperature, but not going too far. So Drake does his back to back thing that he used on Meek and comes out with this the tailor made freestyle or whatever you want to call it, but it didn't really hit like a lot of people expected. He kind of leaked the AI version. It was just a lot of kind of like weird stuff that a lot of people didn't really gravitate to, but that got taken down. Tupac's estate wasn't feeling it because he's using the AI version of Tupac and Snoop's voice. Move past that. Drake drops Euphoria, right? This is when we start to turn up the heat. So he's not digging too far, but you can tell the gloves are coming off. He's throwing haymakers on Euphoria, right? So, and Drake is feeling that because this is the moment where people start to say, okay, Kendrick is up 1-0. Drake, you got to come back. No time for the dance music. You need to rap, right? So Euphoria is hard. Everybody's going crazy about it. And Drake comes back with Family Matters, right? So I don't think I've heard Drake rap like this in the past 10 years at least, right? And this is one of my biggest criticisms because I'm a fan of both Drake and Kendrick. And Drake doesn't do this on a consistent basis, but he has the capability of doing it, right? So Family Matters is like a 6.5 minute song. Hard. The beat, the video, everything that he put into it is the Drake that I grew to be a fan of, right? That I don't really get to see that often, right? And like I said, the song is fire. It would be a 10 out of 10 if he dedicated that entire track to Kendrick, but he's still throwing shots at Ross, he's throwing shots at he mentions Future, he's throwing shots at Pharrell, The Weeknd. Bro, we're here to hear about Kendrick. Dedicate this 6.5 minutes to Kendrick, bro. He's only talking to you. You know what I mean? Talk directly back to him. If it's a 6.5 minute long song, I don't want to hear 3 minutes and 15 seconds about these other dudes who nobody's checking for. We're not looking for a response from Ross. We're not looking for a response from Pharrell or any of these other guys that you're mentioning right now. Keep it between these two. We want to see who's going to win the battle between you two. Nobody else really matters right now. I think he kind of did that maybe because he doesn't have enough um, information or whatever it is, enough content to go just at Kendrick. What I noticed is that Drake didn't really have a narrative, right? So Kendrick had several, right? And he's come in with you're a bad father, uh, you're this suspicious guy when it comes to dealing with underage women. You're hanging with these compromised dudes who already have, convictions for like sex trafficking and a bunch of other, heinous crimes. Like, so Kendrick can go at it in a myriad of ways. So he has a lot to say, whether he's saying something that's been stated before or not, right? He has a lot to feed from. Kendrick is low key. We don't really hear from him, even music wise. You know what I mean? He just kind of late. He drops an album. He goes lays in the background. So it's not a lot of dirt. that's known about Kendrick. So when it comes to a battle, even if you don't have dirt on somebody, you have to have a narrative that's believable to get the audience to engage. And that's what Drake has been lacking, right? So after Kendrick dropped Euphoria and everybody's going crazy about it, like I said, a lot of people put Kendrick up at that point, at least 1-0. You know, realistically, a lot of people were saying he's up 3-0. I kind of ignore that stuff. That's a lot of the stand talk. But Kendrick's up 1-0. Drake drops Family Matters, which was a video and a song. And he creates the narrative that Kendrick is a woman beater, right? So saying that your wife is posting these cryptic uh texts and posts that lets me know that you've been beating her, you cleaned it up. You know, for Instagram, you had a team working on it to keep it hidden, blah blah blah. And oh, your kids. I think maybe your son's not yours. I think your manager may have, you know, got your baby mama pregnant. Y'all not doing good, and you've been engaged since 2015, but you refuse to marry. Cool. That's a cool angle, right? But it's only an allegation until you can prove it otherwise, right? So it works for the shock and awe, the wow factor in a moment to get people talking. So when I heard it, it was midnight. My wife actually woke me up like, yo, Drake just responded, you know, to Euphoria, right? So I wake up and listen to it. And before I can even listen to it a second time or even like analyze what's being said, Kendrick steps on it immediately. Boom, like 30 minutes later with Meet the Grams, right? So we go from Family Matters to Meet the Grams, right? Which is funny because one of Kendrick's angles is that, hey, you have a mole in your camp. You have employed 100 people. You can't trust everybody and you're doing people wrong. So they're siding with me. OVO is actually working for K Dot, right? You need to figure out which one it is. I have all of these, you know, cryptic items from your pop's suitcase, according to academics, right? These gloves and this shirt and these pill bottles with Ozempic and a bunch of other stuff that's, you know, telling me stuff about you. I can already anticipate your angle because they're talking to me, right? So this kind of seems to prove Kendrick's angle in the moment, right? Hey, I knew you were going to say something about my family. I mentioned it on Euphoria. Here you go. You drop Family Matters talking about my wife, and I'm responding to you with Meet the Grams. Meet the Grams, Kendrick's not trying to make a hit. He has this really creepy, like eerie beat, you know, where he's going to each member of Drake's family, talking to them, telling them about how terrible of a son that they raise, how he treats women. He's talking to Adonis saying that, hey, you should let me mentor you because your dad is trash. And oh, by the way, he has a daughter, right? So we're going through the Pusha T story of Adidon Part 2, right? I'll get to the truthfulness in this later, but in the moment, like I said, this isn't a hit like Family Matters. You listen to Family Matters, that's a hit. You're gonna listen to it over and over. The beat is fire. It's Drake flowing. He has beat switches. Kendrick's doing none of that. Really eerily talking to these people like having an intervention and steps on the momentum. Immediately snuffs out any momentum that Drake had with Family Matters, which has been his hardest track. If I'm being honest, it's the best sounding track of the entire battle, right? So that was super smart of K Dot to step on that right away because people immediately stopped talking about it, right? So it didn't have enough time to sit and marinate with the people to even formulate an unbiased opinion without also taking in consideration what Kendrick is saying, you know, about him having a daughter, right? So now after this track drops, Drake posts on Instagram immediately, yo, if I got a daughter, send it to me. You know, these guys are desperate right now, something to that nature. Right. So uh of course Twitter's going crazy and you know, theories start to spread. Hey, what if Drake is a step ahead? You know, he's significantly more battle tested than Kendrick is. You know, Drake is probably the most battle tested superstar that we have, right? So there was some theories that you know Drake sent this fake mole, you know, to Kendrick to plant all of these items and all of this false information for Kendrick to use in the battle to look like a liar, to look dumb, basically, right? So, you send this mold to say, I have a daughter, you say it in a song, and now it's up to you to prove it, right? That kind of makes you look crazy. Right. So that was a smart play. If that's the case, we still don't know, right? Up to this point, it's been a lot of allegations. Kendrick's alleging that, Drake is this freaky dude that's, being very vile and doing very, heinous acts with these young girls, and he has these questionable people around him. Uh Drake is responding saying that Kendrick is a woman beater and his kid's not his, right? That only works for so long until somebody can prove it, and up to this point, it hasn't been done. To me, that's why Kendrick is still ahead, because his songs have been the most impactful. Drake has made the most audibly pleasing. If we look at everything together, right, it's probably what you're gonna listen to on a more regular basis. But everything that Kendrick has been putting out has been more impactful with the things that he's been saying. Like I said, Kendrick has a dozen angles that he can take just because Drake is always in the public eye, right? So at the end of the night, everything starts to settle. You start to see people from Drake's side coming, I won't say crossing over, but starting to respect, Kendrick and his craftsmanship. You see people that are Kendrick super fans starting to respect, Drake when he drops Family Matters. That it's just an undeniable song. They've been dropping undeniably superior work to everybody and really showing everybody why they're the best. They're the only two that can do things like this, right? So you start to see a mutual respect between the fan bases. Unfortunately, that respect doesn't exist between the artists, right? Because after this settles out, we think everything is over. Hey, nobody loses. They've done so well. Nobody's proven anything. Allegations are just what they are until they're proven. Hey, I don't care if nobody responds anymore. This has been a great battle. It's the best thing that's ever happened to hip hop. Wake up the next day, Kendrick's not over it. He's not done. So Drake mentions that in Family Matters that, hey, I'm going on vacation. You got to wait for me to respond. Blah, say, blah, you're not worth my time. You got to pay for my time. All the Drake, showboaty stuff, right? Um, Kendrick felt differently, right? So he immediately comes with a song, Not Like Us, right? So Not Like Us is him digging further into his allegations. The cover is Drake's house with a bunch of the sexual predator, whatever you call it, symbols on top of the house, and that's who Drake is, hanging with, and he's alleging all of these things. But now he's taking into consideration some of the complaints, like, hey, I can't party to this, and he puts it on one of the hardest West Coast Bay late 1990s, early 2000s uh Bay beats, and everybody's vibing out to it. So people are posting dance videos. I've seen people doing line dances to Not Like Us. All the gangs are crip walking to it on the West Coast. So it's just become like a phenomenon that people are gravitating towards Kendrick because he's doing everything, right? It's the impact that he's having. It's, how tailored his responses are to Drake and only Drake. He's just undeniably in the lead right now, right? And since that dropped, I don't think this is over. This is probably gonna continue to go into the summer. But I think hip hop in general is very appreciative of both sides. Like I said, there's been a mutual appreciation for the most part that these two are the greatest and we'll probably never see this again. Like I said, Drake, especially when he dropped Family Matters, is rapping at a different level. I don't know if I've heard him this focused and this detailed in a very long time. Consistently. He'll always drop, some hits when he does his timestamp thing, but he hasn't done this type of rapping in a very long time, right? So that is good to hear. And like I said, going into this, Kendrick is the underdog. He's never been battle tested. He's never really had a beef publicly, especially with a superstar on this platform where it's not just a jab. I'm dedicating a full song to dismantle you and everything that people believe about you. So there's really some animosity and hatred, in these lyrics, which is is helping the music 100%, right? So yeah, we'll see where this goes, man. But shout out to both of them. Like I said, this is the best battle. I'm not really willing to debate that. I think it's kind of self-evident whether no matter what era of hip hop you came up in. Yeah, but you let me know how you feel, man. Who's winning to you? I have Kendrick up right now. I'm not even keeping score anymore because it's just so much music. It's so much to digest. You drop 5 songs and then you have to break down 5 songs and get all of these theories that it's been pretty dope to experience firsthand. But you let me know who's up. I have Kendrick up. I anticipate that Drake will respond. I just don't know what angle he's going to take. Um, I really can't think of anything. Like I feel like if he goes back into the complications between him and his wife, he has to come with some evidence based facts or something, or people aren't really going to be feeling that. So we'll see where it goes. Y'all let me know what you think. Who's winning right now? Comment down below and share this video. Miles from Bass and Vinyl. Peace.